Why did God make the world? Why did he make anything? What's the reason for all of this? And what is God's purpose for humanity? By the end of this teaching, you'll have a foundational understanding of why we exist as image bearers of God in this world. Genesis 1:1 and 2 says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and he created the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep." And here we have the Spirit of God hovering over the face of the waters. God made everything for his glory. Humans exist to enjoy loving relationship with God. In other words, God is the reason for which everything exists. Number one, here's the first thing you need to know. All things exist for the glory of God. According to Colossians 1:16, Isaiah 43:7, Romans 11:36, and 1 Corinthians 10:31, the glory of God is the central focus, purpose, and reason for why all things exist at all. The second thing we'll see in the scriptures is that in Genesis 1, God makes humanity specifically to govern, rule, and steward everything that God has made within this world. In other words, all things within the created world exist on this earth to be governed and ruled over by humans. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 through 28 tells us this very clearly. The third thing to note is that all things actually exist for humans to image God within. In other words, you'll see a reflection of God not just within creation. You won't just see different dimensions of God's character and nature within the created world and what he's done, but within image bearers of God, that's what humans are. We are reflections of God in the earth. We are made to reflect the image of God. We're made to multiply that image and be fruitful. This is what God tells Adam and Eve. He tells them to be fruitful and to multiply. They're supposed to procreate and multiply the image of God across the earth. They're supposed to reflect him through procreation and through faithfully managing and ruling over God's creation. In other words, human beings exist to be rulers on the earth under God's authority for his glory. He gave us the earth to steward and manage with God leading and guiding the process. The fourth thing to note is that all things exist within this world for humanity to enjoy God in it. In other words, God is to be our ultimate treasure. God is to be the one who ultimately satisfies us by his love. And so within the created world, God makes humanity not just to rule and govern and steward and cultivate, and not just to reflect and multiply his image and be fruitful, but all things within the created world, along with humanity, God has structured all of it so that we can enjoy God and be absolutely satisfied at the soul level by his love for us. Psalm 90, verse 14, and Psalm 37:4 speak to this, that we exist to enjoy the love of God, enjoy relationship, be satisfied with friendship with God. God actually is the only one who can satisfy the soul of his people. The last thing to note is that all things exist for humanity to cultivate, to expand, to multiply, to innovate, to be creative. God has given each human being, and even within creation, a degree of creative spark. And so every human has the ability to image God, not just in being fruitful and multiplying, but in the way that we cultivate, in the way that we expand. Adam and Eve were placed in the Garden of Eden to expand the borders of the garden across the known world so that God's image within that is expanded and seen. And so one of the ways that we image God and multiply that image, according to Genesis 2, verse 8 through 15, is by creatively expanding and managing what he's given us, cultivating that, developing that, innovating. And then through that innovation, we are imitating our Father with the creative spark that he's placed within us. So this is why God made everything. All things are for his glory. All things are to be governed and ruled over by humans within this created world. All things are structured and placed where they are for humanity to enjoy being satisfied with God and his love for them, and for us to image God in the earth. And then God has placed us strategically all throughout human history within this world to cultivate, to expand, to rule, to govern, and to innovate within the world he's given us, that we might steward it well under his authority. This is why God made everything. If you want the scriptures and the notes for this teaching, you can find those in the full free course for new believers on our website under Session 2, Why God Made Everything. Be sure that you review the scriptures and the notes before the next session, and please do share this with anyone who might benefit from this Spiritual Foundations course. Make sure you visit abovereproachministry.com for everything about this online ministry, and I'll see you in the next video where we will tackle the concept, the topic of what happened to humanity in this Faith Essentials course for new believers.